I would like to welcome you very warmly. Today's presentation will be about becoming a leader. The presentations from 1 to 4 were the presentations given as if live, the so-called showpieces demonstrating the way of giving a training or presentation to a new partner. Materials from 5 to 11 are materials where I try to explain things, provide you with knowledge or improve competence. The Become the Leader card is a document addressed to all people who wish to achieve the highest positions in OUVRE. Today we are going to discuss them. First of all, let's define who the leader is. A leader is a person or organization that leads, heads a given group. A characteristic feature of a leader is that the people or organizations want to follow them on their own and are willing to be led by them. If you want to build a very big team, want to create passive income, even a 6-digit one per month, then you need to have some skills which are necessary to manage your team. This list includes the skills and abilities from the 3% position to 21%. At first glance, one may ask, where are the positions for directors and presidents? The most interesting thing is that when one acquires the skills from the first marketing plan, it is enough to keep 6 features that I will discuss later. In this case, by learning the skills and abilities from the first marketing plan, we can easily achieve the highest positions. There is also no point in describing the position of a regional director or a president because the skills and abilities from the first marketing plan have to be actually polished, have to be put into practice all the time. And at the end of this presentation, I will show you that it's enough to maintain all skills and abilities from those positions to achieve higher ones. How to use this card in general? First of all, you have to understand that this card is for you. You are the only one who will verify yourself based on this card and verify your skills and abilities. You have to honestly tick whether you have a given skill or ability or not. If this is not done honestly, it will still get verified with the use of a tree. If you're a person who claims that a given skill or ability is not needed, another one is okay, then you should remember that the list was created by marketing practitioners and people who achieved very high positions, and therefore we do know what people should know in a given position. If you cannot do something, just talk about it with your leader so that they could teach you that. Sometimes there are situations that you have a helpful leader who, let's say, has already gained such skills and abilities, and if you can't understand them, then it's worth asking about it. The last space in the right column is dedicated to effects. It is a column where you can write down whether you have a given skill or ability and how efficient you are in it. Thanks to this column, you can check and verify whether you have definitely gained a given skill or ability. Filling it in honestly will show you whether a given skill or ability should be improved once again or not. If you do it hastily, then it may be difficult to achieve the highest positions. The level of 1% has not been taken into account because one can achieve it with their own order. 1% is such a level which can be achieved without any knowledge, without any leader. Your own order is enough. The level of 3%, 6%, or for some people even 9% can be achieved with bigger own orders through acquiring the clients. Yet if you are a leader and try to keep duplication so that many people could follow your improved skills and abilities, we've started with 3%. For it's necessary to promote the correct attitude from the very beginning so that many people know what to do and whom they should duplicate. Let's proceed to the skills and abilities at the 3% level. First of all, one has to learn the 15-minute presentation to know how to register a new person. It's one of the most important skills as early as at 3% because it is a presentation which will give you great self-confidence if you register a person after it, and first of all, you will become convinced that it's worth doing this marketing. The majority of the directors who now achieve very high financial results are people who started doing meetings very quickly. If you are effective during the presentation, meaning 7 people out of 10, then it means that you've given this presentation well. An evening phone call after the meeting, if you register a person and the meeting was not held later than at 7 p.m., should be made to such a person the same day, because after the presentation, people often talk to their nearest and dearest and decide that they will not do that after all. It means that there was great euphoria at the meeting, but it evaporated after coming back home. Therefore, it is good to call a given person in the evening and check if everything is okay, remind them about the date of the meeting that you arranged after the presentation, and first of all, it is good to talk to such a person if any objections appear. Remember that an evening phone call is made by the person who held the meeting and not the person who invited people to the meeting. The biggest responsibility for the new people is always assumed by those who registered them. The telephone should have unlimited calls. I think that it's understandable if you want to have good contact with the group and want to talk with them, there should be no limits in using your phone. A calendar is a tool which unfortunately is not used by everybody, probably because people believe that they can record everything in their minds. Yet it's not about it. When you are in a period when business flourishes, it's worth writing down things in the calendar, because there always comes a point when your business gets stuck or doesn't expand. And then you can always come back to earlier days and verify what has been done, that everything was heading in the right direction. If you do not record things in the calendar, it is very difficult to verify whether everything is okay for sure. Therefore, keep your calendar, because it shows you what work has been done, what's effective and what works. It is advisable to read a book entitled Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. It is a great book which mainly teaches how to earn money. The attitude to money explains the idea of passive income that you can achieve through working with us. This term means that you do your work once and then receive money every month for the people registered some time ago and for the orders placed by them. Do you have the product tester? It is a tool which consists of samples of collagen products, perfumes, which can be demonstrated at the meeting and which will surely increase your trustworthiness at the meetings even more and will promote OUVRE in a better way. Such are the skills and abilities at the 3% level. When we achieve the level of 6%, it's worth having perfect knowledge of how to give product and recruitment training. What does perfect mean? When you give the product training to a new person, it is important to verify how often the orders are placed after your training by people and what is the level of their fulfillment. If they are fulfilled at the level of about 500 points, then it means that you do it well. A recruitment training is aimed at arranging the meetings with the biggest possible number of people. The more people arrange for the meeting, the more it speaks for the quality of your training. Keeping the accurate card of dealing with a given person. What does it mean? Each registered person will be a consumer, and if they want to be a seller or a leader, they have to accomplish product and recruitment trainings and be added to Facebook groups to be kept up to date. If a person accomplishes the product and recruitment training, then there's a big chance that your business will be continued, because the acquaintances from their list of contacts are arranged and you'll receive passive income, because you should remember that the most important training in the company is the product training. For if a given person even gives the business up but is still convinced by the products, then they will place the orders every month, and those orders will give you remuneration each month while you have registered the person only once. Promotion of events. Many people do not promote the events. People often just tag others in comments, but they do not promote, do not call. While big events, big conferences, big video conferences actually cause people to change their decision about their attitude to the business. Remember about the so-called two dates: the date of registration and the date of becoming committed. The date of becoming committed occurs usually on a day of the conference. However, such a person has to take part in it, planning your work, using your time effectively. If your group is getting bigger and bigger, then it is worth determining how many hours a day you can devote to your work and defining how effectively you do your work. The more time you dedicate to people who really want to do something, the greater the effects will be. Development of relationships with people from the group. First of all, it is worth keeping contact with the most important leaders when you are at 6%. There will probably be 2 or 3 people willing to work with you more intensively, and it is advisable to keep in contact with 2-3 people at the very bottom with whom we arrange new meetings on an ongoing basis to maintain the continuity of work. Looking stylish with a shirt, a watch, appropriate shoes, behavior, and hygiene are aspects which should already be present at the level of 0%. Yet it should be particularly remembered about when you do the meetings because people look at you. Therefore, it is advisable to always look good. Knowledge of business vocabulary. Many people use a very inappropriate vocabulary like winding up or drawing in. Such vocabulary shouldn't be used when giving such presentations because it brings negative things to mind. It's worth being cautious and reserved with some words and know how to appropriately talk to people. I recommend reading a book entitled How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's a great book which will teach you how to talk to people so that after talking to you they want to cooperate with you, or maybe they like you or want to do something that you have asked about. It is a great publication, really. Let's proceed to the level of 9%. First of all, when you are at 9%, it is worth teaching the system to more people, which means presentations, evening calls, product trainings, and recruitment trainings. People in higher positions have to know those presentations and trainings because when they are at 9%, they will surely have some person reporting to them who is at 3% or at 6%. So such people have to know those things to accelerate the development of your network and their networks as well. The ability to properly communicate knowledge when teaching people. Unfortunately, it often happens that people who know something do not have the ability of communicating that knowledge. It is good to observe whether people participate in the meetings willingly and first of all listen to their responses and whether they are satisfied after such a meeting. Development of a team. At the level of 9%, you have more and more people and therefore it is also advisable to set priorities in your team with the people that you develop your business with. It is worth training them in the skill of winning new people, managing a team. And in the case of consumers and sellers, it is important to develop product awareness and expand the list of clients. Ability to teach a group. It often happens that when we give some trainings, people don't listen to us. It's good to verify whether you can give trainings in a manner where you keep people focused and they listen to you all the time. Verification of acquisition of transferred knowledge. It often happens that we have leaders reporting to us who do the meetings. We are proud of that and we are glad that they hold them without us, whereas we often do not verify whether they do them properly at all. Therefore, if you have people who do such activities in your team, make an appointment with them and check how properly they give the trainings. Natural use of the language of benefits, empathy, and the ability to build faith in people. It's also one of the most important abilities at the level of 9%. Many people who work in marketing do not know how to talk to people effectively. They often use the language in conditional mood. They ask questions that people can answer only yes or no, or talk with a commanding voice. The best language is the language of benefits, the so-called indicative mood. It means that we say to someone, I do care that you arrange 2 meetings. I will come to those meetings or we hold them online. I will help you register that person and take care of them. If you have those people registered by you in the group, then your group can develop nicely, and it will give you bigger motivation to arrange more meetings with acquaintances. And it is a much better way to have people arranged for meetings instead of saying, it would be nice if you arranged 2 meetings. Setting the targets in the group. If you have people at 3% and 6%, then it is good to set short-term targets with them, that is to set the targets to be achieved in a given month. People need a specific plan to act, drawing conclusions from the work performed by you and people in the group. If something goes well, draw conclusions from it. If there are any failures, draw conclusions from those. It's worth drawing conclusions from all situations, yet the most important point is to be happy with good things, and if there are some failures, draw conclusions from them, but never make a drama out of them, because people can sometimes think for 2 weeks what went wrong, while within that time they could have done at least 13 good things. Verification of aspiring leaders from Become the Leader cards. If you already have a person at 3%, then you start to verify them according to the card to see if they already have all those skills and abilities. When we talk about the 12% level, then the first most important thing is that you have the correct attitude, become a model to follow. When you achieve such a position, many people will look at you and analyze whether it is worth duplicating your activities. Unfortunately, it often happens that people, before getting involved, verify every possible aspect of you because they have to gain awareness and get convinced that it's worth cooperating with you. The ability to make inspiring public appearances. At the level of 12%, you should already make good appearances at least during video conferences or at conferences as well. For if you start giving your trainings well to the public, then you gain even bigger authority and get even more convinced of your skills and abilities. Obviously, it is a difficult thing, yet it's worth polishing it throughout the period of working in marketing. The ability to involve and inspire people. Remember that when you are at 12%, you have much greater striking power than a person at the level of 3%. Don't forget about it, because we often transfer the obligations to a person working at 3%, and the skills for that level do not include, unfortunately, the ability to create new leaders. Creation of business awareness in people. When you're at 12%, then there's a chance that there's already someone reporting to you at 9%. It is advisable to create greater business awareness in people to explain to them what kind of project they work in. Sometimes people who give up business do that because they do not understand what it's about. If you can build a big enough consumer network which will earn money for you every month regardless of whether you sleep or do something else, and it happens only because you did your job some time ago, then I have to tell you that your commitment to it is something that really counts, and that I don't know any other projects like the ability to solve problems in the group. Remember about the golden principle. Good information is passed down, while bad information is passed up and is discussed. You cannot pass bad information down because it's a bit like parents talking about unpleasant things to their children and asking their children to solve a given situation. Remember that problems should be solved very quickly. You cannot exaggerate them, and you have to be a person that quickly solves them, because people in your team may sometimes get stuck with a given problem and unfortunately cannot get out of it. Professional group management. The more people are in your group, the better you have to define the targets for people and the people you can count on. Introduction of positive emotions to the group. Sometimes a group may have relevant skills and abilities, but it doesn't work because there is no relevant energy or motivation. Therefore, it's important that you, as a person, give them bigger energy and more striking power because they need it. Read a book entitled Emotional Intelligence Coaching. It's a book that will teach you how to manage bigger problems and will provide you with examples of how to talk to people and have no effect, and what small changes should be made to improve such effects. The level of 16%. Holding video conferences for your group. It is something obvious, as you are the head of a team which is composed of so many people that you will have no problems with high attendance at video conferences. The ability to identify with the level of a person in the group. It's the most important ability when you are at 16%. When we achieve higher positions, we often forget about our being in lower ones. We tend to be less patient with new people, and sometimes we even don't give them any opportunities for development. We have to be aware how much time we needed, how much self-confidence we had to gain, and how many skills and abilities we had to acquire to start with it. Therefore, if you have aspiring people in your group who develop nicely, provide them with opportunities, because it often happens that the higher we are, the less patient we are with people. Using indicative mood in the development of the group and in everyday life. It is worth having a perfect knowledge of this language. This is the same situation as the the one explained for the 9% level, that is the language of benefits, but at this level it is important to be fluent in it. Winning people, incidentally, the ability to interest casual people with the business. If you know how to arouse interest in a person who is, let's say, just passing by, then it means that your self-confidence, skills and abilities in this business are actually at a high level. Making decisions which are good for the development of the group, good decisions for the sake of your team. It's also important to be a confident strategist of the team. If you see that a team is not heading in the right direction, then you as the leader have to set it. The ability to justify your reasons and win people over with them. The more people in your group, the more people will mull over doing this business in a different way or to have their arguments. I have a saying that I follow: I'd rather have money than be right. You as the leader at 16% who has bigger experience than your people should be a person who will show them the right way of doing things. The ability to create leaders with a level of development at 12%. If you generate 16%, then you should have at least one person at 12% to confidently aim at the position of the regional director. Reading a book entitled The Fundamentals of Network Marketing. It's a great book that will teach you how to manage your team in network marketing as a leader. And then we have 21%. That means the ability to appear in public. When you are a leader in the positions of senior team manager and when closing the first marketing plan, it is advisable to polish and give better and better public appearances. The ability to select leaders for cooperation. Everyone knows that when achieving the level of 21%, it may happen that unfortunately you have people involved in your team who were not worth a minute of your attention. It's advisable to learn from mistakes, drawing conclusions from such people and polishing the ability to select people for cooperation with as few mistakes as possible. Group trainings for your network. They are motivational trainings mostly. They may also be technical trainings. Depending on the group they are addressed to, you have to know how to do them for both. Setting the targets with the leaders from your team. When you're at 21%, you have greater striking power and therefore you can obviously talk about higher targets, define them in time and show people an even broader perspective. If your vision is great and you inspire people, then the same people will inspire others. If you do not have a vision, do not have energy, then it's very difficult for the people working with you to have it as well. Taking responsibility for the development of your network. When you are at 21%, then the biggest mistake that one can make is to blame people in your team for getting the business stuck because they do nothing or do things wrong. You are the leader, you are the coach of this team. If a football team loses, it's the coach who is responsible for that. Being an example for your team. If people like you, like talking with you, want to spend time with you, then it means that you are a very cool person. Keep doing it. The skills and abilities presented earlier are the skills and abilities for the 21% level. The most interesting fact is that there are no greater skills or abilities in the positions of directors or even of presidents, because the skills and abilities presented in the first marketing plan have to be simply duplicated and maintained in the second or third marketing plan. And it is also worth remembering these 6 aspects. The first of them, all of the aforementioned skills and abilities have been gained. If you have all of them, then there is no chance that you'll stop at the highest position in the company. You keep working and want to achieve an even higher target. It often happens that people have all the skills and abilities presented before, but unfortunately they have not set a higher target for themselves and thus they do not feel like doing it. If you do not set a high target, then your group may unfortunately get stuck in the middle of the way, and there is still so much that you can achieve with us. Especially since when you achieve the level of 21%, there's a rule that from this level, achieving a higher position is just a matter of time. You are an example for other people in the group and you set the pace of work. It often happens that many people in directorial positions plunge into the so-called management very deeply, meaning that instead of doing, they start explaining many things. Such loads of explaining may easily slow you down and cause that your passion for action will vanish. Therefore, if you want to have fresh knowledge, great conclusions all the time, you have to work in the area all the time. Obviously, you train people but also actively participate in building the team. Do not get discouraged when something goes wrong, just look for solutions. If you are a person that will have a bigger network, then there will be bigger problems. The most important thing is to solve them, to look for solutions, and to accurately show the direction of development all the time. Do not forget about the skills and abilities that you have gained earlier. It often happens that people forget about the skills and abilities for unknown reasons, though I think that it is not about forgetting them but about ceasing to use them. To put it simply, you used to apply them frequently and you use them rarely now. Therefore, when you get stuck sometimes, it is worth verifying the earlier skills and abilities to see which of them should still be polished. Do not mull over other ways of business development than the one which is proven and works. Many people can also mull over, look for other ways. If you have followed the path to a very high position, then why change it? It's proven. Sometimes the time for finding a new way will be longer than getting promoted in a proven way. Therefore, it's enough to have the abilities shown above in the table from 3% to 21% plus those last 6 subpoints, which are truly and incredibly significant to achieve the highest positions in OUVRE. If you keep them all, if you are fully concentrated and focused on the target, then remember that where there's focus, there's growth as well. So if it looks like that in your case, and I'm not worried about you not achieving the highest position of the global president in our company. I hope that this card has been very helpful to you. I hope that you will come back to it many times and that we will meet you in the highest position. Thanks for listening.